During the pandemic, one of the more active DJs in our goth subculture, our worldwide now goth subculture, has been DJ Mortasha Kinski. She's got several ongoing live streams like Isolation, sometimes called Self-Isolation, Babes of the 80s, and Sunday's Slave, just to name a few. She's also been a guest on a lot of the DJ festivals that have been going on. So now I will stop talking about her as if she's not here, because bam, there she is joining us from her home in London. DJ Mortasha Kinski, welcome to New Music Mondays. Hello.
Thanks so much, Davey. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, lovely to have you. And thank you so much for the sets that you've contributed to the show. And let's talk about your career as a DJ, because I don't know you very well, but I've seen you DJ a bunch of times. And every time I do, I'm always really impressed. Love your song selections and your transitions and everything. You're really great.
Thanks so much.
So when did you start DJing? When did it first occur to you, that this is playing music for people is something that you wanted to do on a regular basis?
I guess I used to go to various clubs in Sydney. So I'm originally from Australia. So I was born and raised in Sydney, and I was quite a regular at one of the 80s clubs, actually, called Retro. And I made friends with the DJs and the people who worked there. And I guess I got into it by becoming a QJ. So we used to have videos playing of all the songs that we were playing at Retro. And so I had to queue up the old VHS cassettes. So this is giving you an indication of how long ago it was that I started DJing. It was the mid 1990s. So I think 1996 was when I started DJing. And one of the DJs had to take a break, as DJs do, bit of a comfort stop because we ran all night. And he said, "Come on, Tash, come over. This is what you need to do." And so he taught me what I needed to do. And I then moved on from just queuing up videos to actually playing music at the club. So I was resident there every Friday and Saturday for 2 years. And then of course in between that, then I'd be going to the various goth and industrial clubs in Sydney. And so we kind of finish off at the 80s club and end up at the goth clubs afterwards. So there was quite a big crossover with the goths in the 80s, and then that's how I got into it, I guess. Was being good friends with the right people at the right time.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I know that you've lived in lots of different cities and countries all over the world. You even lived in the United States for a bit, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, after those 2 years at the 80s club, I'd gone to university a bit later, and I got a graduate job in Los Angeles. So I lived in LA for a year and a half, but I was on a restricted visa, so it was a student visa, and then I had to go back to Australia after that. Back in Australia for about 9 years, and was guesting at a lot of the clubs, and then was quite a regular at a club called Requiem and another club called Electric Ballroom, named after the famous venue in London in Camden Town. And then some other clubs, I think one of them was called Control. So this is all the early noughties back in Sydney. Then work, well, I guess I've got a European passport as well as an Australian passport. So took a transfer with work to Ireland for a year. And from Ireland, I've come to London. So the global financial crisis hit in Ireland 2008, I guess it was, and I wasn't ready to move back to Australia. So I thought, well, London's always felt like home to me, and I would like to live and work in London. And it was always, sort of the place for me. And now 12 years later, I'm still here and love living here.
Oh, that's so great. Before the pandemic hit, were you DJing in the clubs there in London?
Yeah, so I guess it had fallen off a little bit, pardon me. And then I had started doing some guest slots at some of the clubs in London, so Reformation, Sunday Lullaby, DJing for some of the bands in London, like Terminal Gods, and another club called A Culture. So they're some of the semi-regular clubs that run probably every 2 to 3 months. And that's when I started doing guest slots there. And then the pandemic hit, and I thought, oh, well, here's my opportunity. And it was right at the beginning. And I thought, well, music is something that keeps me sane. So maybe it keeps other people sane too. And so I started doing streams.
Right. Great. And I love your streams as well. Did I hit the main ones? Babes of the 80s, Isolation, which is also sometimes called Self-Isolation, and Sunday Slave?
Yes, they're the main ones. I've kind of dropped off the Sunday Slave a little bit because it's the thing, there's so many great streams on, and I also want to support the other DJs who are streaming. So there's DJ Cyberpagan, who runs a Sundays in Isolation on a Sunday afternoon, German time into early evening. And then that's kind of slots into the Sunday brunch, the Gothic brunch run by Red Party in New York. So my slot used to kind of sit in the middle of those two, but now they dovetail into each other. So I'm going to start doing alternate Mondays and call that Maudlin Monday.
Okay, great. That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of your other plans for the future in addition to that?
In terms of streams, we've got a few, some of the group streams coming up. So we've got Light It Black, which is a stream on the 7th of November. And that's an event really to make people aware of the situation that so many of the venues that we've been going to over the years, they're in crisis. We, as goths, as people who love music, so many of us love going to a gig and seeing these bands, these amazing artists that we hear the music, and to hear it live is so special. And so many of these venues may not be able to survive. So this is, I guess, an event that's running worldwide, and it's an event to highlight the fact that these venues need help, and to highlight the ways that you can petition government in order to help save these venues. So that's Light It Black coming up on the 7th of November. And the other big one coming up is Darkness Before Christmas, which is on the 12th and 13th of December. And so that's going to be approximately 48 hours, again, global event with DJs from around the world. So it was the same team that brought together the 48 Hours of Darkness back in early September.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we will provide links in the chat room if you're watching live on Twitch, or if you're watching the repeat on Twitch on Wednesday. We'll also provide those links in the YouTube description and the Mixcloud description if you're listening on Mixcloud, as well as the links to follow Mortasha Kinski and all the amazing events that she's doing. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Davey. And I actually just wanted to make a comment about something that you've brought up during your show is mental health. And for me, I think, this pandemic has been something that affects so many people and affects their mental well-being, and those links that you provide each week are so important. Music's something that's kept me sane throughout all of this, but it is so important to look after your mental health and to, understand that there are organisations in place that are there to help if you don't have that support network from friends or family, that there are other organisations that can help you in whichever country you're in.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for bringing that up. There is no shame in, reaching out for help, right? I mean, these times are like very, very difficult. We've got some major things that we're dealing with on top of our normal lives, which are often difficult, right?
Yes.
the state of the authoritarian regime in our nation is causing a lot of stress.
Yes.
There's just all kinds of things. So I really hope that whoever is watching this and feels like they're alone and there's no hope and they're having trouble coping, definitely please reach out to whoever you can. And we always provide links for suicide hotlines here in the United States. Maybe I should, we've got a lot of viewers in the UK and in Europe. Maybe I should start providing links for those too.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's go ahead and go to the second set for DJ Mortasha Kinski here on New Music Mondays. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi everyone, hope you liked that video. If so, please like and subscribe to receive notifications when we upload more content. New Music Mondays is a live stream show every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on twitch.tv/DavyBonesOakland. It features myself and a weekly guest DJ spinning new releases in the world of dark music, post-punk, goth, dark wave, as well as interviews with the people that make the music happen. So it's a lot of fun. Make sure to join us live. Again, it's every Monday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., or actually about 9:30 Pacific time. The audio will always be uploaded the next day to my Mixcloud page, mixcloud.com/DavyBonesOakland. And thanks for watching the video on YouTube. The interviews will all be uploaded to the YouTube channel as well as an occasional behind the scenes video as well. Alright, thanks again.